The good news is, as long as you can meet your mortgage repayments, the first home you ever buy is the most you'll ever have to pay for a home, except for the fees in between. So if you bought one tomorrow for $200,000 with no equity in it, that's fine. But in 10 years' time, you might buy a second one for $600,000. In the meantime, you've built up your equity. So by getting into the market at this point in time, or whatever point you do get into the market, that's effectively the cheapest you'll ever have to, or the most you'll ever have to pay for the home. So your third home might be the same area. It might be Blackburn North each time because it's got to be the same sort of house in the same sort of area. But your mortgage will still be $200,000 less what you've paid off over the years. So scary to think that in 10 years' time your house might be worth $1.5 million. So it's just the way things are going. Okay, I've got a question. What do you think the current interest rate market is in the first year of your loan? Any ideas of the rough sort of rate? No? Well, most people would be led to believe it's probably about 8%. Is that a fair comment? Whereas I believe it's probably about 84%. And the reason for that is that if you're making repayments on your loan of, say, $20,000 in the first year, I think it works out to be around $18,000 or $17,000 of that is an interest component, and the other $3,000 is principal. So if you break it down and look at it that way, you're actually paying 84% in the first year on your home loan, not the 8%. So if you can start to look at the numbers differently, because you've probably heard from everywhere it's so important to pay off extra repayments in the early years, and that's the reason why. So I think on the next slide I can show you that by simply paying an extra $200 a month, that interest rate drops from 84% to 75%. So it's pretty good. You're saving 9% on $20,000 a year, which is a lot of money. So just getting those extra repayments in there early is really going to set you up. So like I said, don't overextend yourself, and you'll have the ability to really drop that percentage rate down. So for me personally, it's just my strategy. I don't worry too much about if my rate's 8% or 8.05 or whatever. I look at the bigger picture and go, okay, it's 8%, but it's really a lot more. And by being disciplined and paying extra money, this is where I'm really going to save my cash. And that's just a quick graph from the calculator on realestate.com, just to show that this is a 25-year loan and there's 4 years remaining, yet 31% of the principal still outstanding. So you've paid off 21 years of your loan, 21 years, yet you've only paid off 70% of the house. And in the last 4 years, you'll be paying off the other 30%. So it really goes to show that in the early years, when the gap's the biggest, that you want to make the repayments, so you'll be able to finish your loan about here instead, and in the meantime, in this example, it'll save you 84 grand in interest, which is, who earns 84 grand a year? So it's, it's pretty handy money to have in your pocket and not the bank's. Okay, dealing with people. Who's gone out on the road yet and dealt with real estate agents and mortgage brokers or anything? Anyone yet? Not really? Excellent. Does it sound scary? They're not that scary, are they? They can be. But it is, to get started, it is nerve-wracking. You think, what do I ask? Where do I start? There's just so many things. And the key people to deal with, like step one's probably a mortgage broker, just to get started. That or the real estate agent, just depending on where you're at, like either one. So when you do go out, though, the key is to ask them quality questions. So don't go to a house and speak to a real estate agent. Go, look, I'm kind of after this and I'm kind of after that and I'm not sure. If you can be more specific, they can help you more as well. So like with the mortgage broker I'm dealing with at the moment, I've said, look, I'm an investor. The loan I'm getting, I need to be in and out in a year. Exit fees are super important to me. I need them to be low. So he knows straight away where I stand, whereas if I don't sort of say how important exit fees are to me, he might not factor that into what he's doing. So if you can speak their language and get in there early and let them know exactly what you want, you're going to be better off, and you're going to build confidence as well as you go. So so dealing with like building inspection, I'll give you a really quick tip on how to save some money on a building inspection. What I did, I got a couple done in Morwell when I was looking at that property out there that I lost money on. But in a sense, I didn't lose money on it because I learnt from him. I said, okay, why did this fail in this part of the building inspection and why did this happen? And I asked him the right questions. So when I start looking at other properties, even though I paid for 2 inspections at $250 each, so I paid $500, but that was my education. So now when I'm looking at properties, I can eliminate them pretty quickly. If I go to a house and look under and the stumps aren't what I want, or there's a few things, and I've saved myself doing future building inspections. So there's little things like that by asking quality questions and the right questions that you definitely will save money down the track.